Greetings, Judah. DFG, Gideon's Flight here. Hey, guys. Just wanted to, I guess I'm kind of on a roll and want to know the truth about it. So here's my second message to share with you once I'm out of YouTube jail. And this is something I just want to bring back to your remembrance, guys. Some of you guys may remember about 2 years ago that a lot of the CEOs of a lot of the major corporations around the country were resigning their positions or retiring from their positions for no reason, or if there was a reason, it was to let the next, up-and-coming CEO take a swing at the job, not because the company was struggling or failing. It was just time for them to move on. And I bring that back forward because I talked about it a couple of years ago, that this was a sign of something very serious and something very traumatic to come, that they were not resigning for no reason. They were going away, going into their bunkers, grabbing all of their wealth, their golden parachutes, after they'd already worked the financial markets, for whatever it was worth, and they were running to the hills to hide. And now 2 years later, the question comes back that I'll present to you, Judah. Why did they do that? Did they have the foresight? Take that back. Were they pre-warned of the dangers that lied ahead as it relates to 2020? And now here it is in 2020. These guys, most of them were long gone because they knew, they were told, they were warned that when this government shutdown was to happen, and it was absolutely going to happen, there were going to be chaos, panic in the street, and ultimately a rebellion of the citizenry of the United States. And as in all rebellion, they all are sparked by what, guys? Poverty. Poverty. In other words, when the poor has had enough, what do? They rebel. It happened in the French Revolution, happened in the Haitian Revolution, where that was more of a slavery. It was still about poverty. And it also happened in the American Revolution. And so they foreknew that this would happen. And so what they did is that they got all of their goods, got their families, all of their possessions, and they ran for the hills to leave you and I out here against a government, one of the most powerful governments, and what I'm talking about when you add the military into that equation, in the world. Why do you think, guys, that they're using the government, in functions, whether it's manning these FEMA camps, part of this warp speed, program, all of these things, and why you think they're enforcing all this 5G technology, why they're coming up with all of these programs to be able to monitor everything that you say through Alexa, through your cell phone, through your television, through all forms of social media that now most of us are addicted to. They know now your every move, your every action, your every reaction. Whenever a threat is coming, if anything that gets said is considered a threat, they already know who said it and what steps to take to prevent it. Whether you're a harmless idiot like a bee mouse, or you're an intellectual, astute, what they consider, rabble-rouser or mouth-groover like DFG. But whichever voice that's out there, they're listening to those voices. And they're going to make decisions. Now, you got these other voices. I'll give you another example. What is that? NFOC? With that Grandmaster Jay. As you see, they threw his ass in jail a couple of days ago. You remember parading around with these guns and, doing all this big bad talk, and of course, they pretty much set him up. And now he's going to be in political battles, in criminal court, legal battles for years to come. You follow me? And I said it then, I'll say it now. That was an idiotic move on him and that group, because do you really think that white supremacy is going to sit on their asses and let black men walk up and down in their communities, calling them names with guns in their hands? And this had nothing to do with, no, I'm not even going to try to clean this up. Do you really think they were going to tolerate that? No more than you would tolerate them walking through your neighborhoods if you live in inner city America with guns in their hands, waving Confederate flags or Nazi flags, talking about, harming you. Even the most shiftless amongst us will start throwing rocks and beer bottles, cussing them and doing all kind of things. And you know that, and I know that. But him, again, now where is he? They've gotten him, right on off the page, right now in criminal court, trying to figure out how his ass is going to stay out of jail in the long run. And again, this is what's coming, guys. They are tracking, they are measuring, they are listening. Now, what does that mean? Does that mean that you go run and hide? No, that means you become as bold as a lion. You continue to come forward and speak up and fight back. But understand clearly, there's going to be a civil war in these streets. There's going to be a purging in these streets. It's already started. Yes, I said the purging is already started. It's just not happening like you thought it would happen. It's not white masqueraders riding around, in trucks and cars, throwing, Molotov cocktail bottles at your buildings and shooting indiscriminately, at you from their cars, even though that's probably going to come. It's coming now in another form. It's already coming. The purging is already happening. And the purging is going to continue to happen. It's going to happen. It's happening right before your eyes. If you have eyes to see, then you already see the purging happening. You already see the groups that are being targeted for the purge. As we already knew, they would be targeted for the purge. So the purge is already going on in its very early stages. And it's going to go on all the way through the winter and all the way into 2021 until most of Judah or the targeted groups, have been taken care of and no longer are a threat to white supremacy. Yeah. Happening right before your eyes. And again, it's nothing new. As our uncle Solomon said in Ecclesiastes, there's nothing new under the sun. What was shall be again. And when you start to look at, this purging, this cleansing, this ethnic cleansing, it's happened to our people over and over and over again. And mainly because of rebellion, because we have decided that we're going to go the way of the heathen. We're going to live. We want to live. We want to take up on the customs. We want to participate in the idolatry and the wickedness and the cultivism, in the detestable behaviors, lifestyles that they have promoted through Hollywood and entertainment. Boys with dresses on. Girls, going into the boys' bathrooms. Encouraging, pedophilia. All those things. The scripture said that these things were happening in the days of Noah. That's what the book. Go back and read in Genesis. Go back and read in Joshua. It'll tell you what was happening. It'll tell you, places like Sodom and Gomorrah. It'll tell you what happened in those two cities. You had men on rampage raping other men. You had adults sleeping with little boys and little girls before Yah came and destroyed the place. Yeah. And as Yeshua said in Matthew 24, as it was in the days of Noah, so shall it be in the end times, as these days that we're looking at right now. That's what the book said. Revelation said there was something going to happen that we could not buy or sell except we participated in that event that was going to happen. And he said that the whole world would be forced to participate in that event. According to Revelation chapter 13, 14, and 15, he said, except you take the mark, you cannot buy nor sell, whether you were rich, whether you are poor, whether you are free, or whether you're imprisoned. That's what the book said. Do you see it happening now? Is it happening now? Do you believe it now? Can you see me now? As the old thing saying, can you see me now? And I know some of you still in resistance. You're still in rebellion. Because you don't want to believe it. You're saying, oh, it's going to come back to normal. You're just using scare tactics. Okay. Where did all the CEOs go? Why did they leave? Why did they take their families, their possessions, their treasures, and run off into Antarctica or somewhere and hide? Why did they do that? If I'm wrong, where did they go? Huh? Where did they go? You don't know. I guarantee you that. And wherever they are, I can assure you they are in a lot better place than most of you guys are. Again, when this new era comes into fruition, through warp speed, guys, you're going to see things that you never imagined. You're going to see debauchery that you never imagined. You're going to see hunger like you never imagined. You're going to see mass murder like you never imagined. You're going to see people falling in the streets dead like you never imagined. You're going to see your own family members betraying you like you never imagined. You're going to see your daughters coming against you like you could not have imagined. Your sons coming against you like you could. The people in your own household in many instances are going to be your worst enemies. They're going to be siding up with evil against you, especially if you are called by the name of Yah. In other words, not just Judah, but by Yah, that Yah has his what you would call brand in your forehead. You may be spared the worst of it, but you ain't going to be spared all of it, Judah. Talking about the righteous among us. But there's no need to run in fear. You know, as we talked about in Proverbs 28, the book says that an evil man, flee it when no one is pursuing him or her. Many of you guys are afraid, and you don't even know what you're afraid of. You're only afraid of what you hear. You know what I'm saying? You're afraid of what you've been listening to. And therefore, it signals to you that you don't trust Yah, that you have no relationship with Yah. Because the book said Yah didn't give you the spirit of fear. The only fear that Yah had put in you was a reverence to him. That is the only fear you should be feeling inside of your bodies. But many of you, I know you don't feel that way because I see your behavior. I can't believe what you say because I see what you do. Even if you say, I don't have no fear, DFG. Yes, you do. Yes, you do. You're afraid of many things. Losing your job, You know what I'm saying? You're full of fear. Still, you're taking precautions and taking steps to subsist under any circumstances like Noah and his family did. They prepared for 120 years. That's what they did. Matthew chapter 24, matter of fact, verse 37. It says, but as the days of Noah were, so shall be the coming of the son of Adam be. For in those days, they before the flood, they were eating and drinking, marrying and giving in marriage, until that day that Noah entered the ark, and knew not that the flood would come and took them all away. So shall it be at the coming of the Son of Man. And just for you guys who don't know what Noah was preaching returning back to Yah, to the people. He was preaching, returning, moving away from the debauchery, the wickedness, the evil. He was the only righteous man that Yah saw on the earth. And the thing that he was telling them that Yah was going to judge them with was it was going to rain. Yes, rain. And you may ask, well, why were they afraid of rain? Because it had never rained on the earth prior to the flood. The water came from the ground like a well, like dew. That's why they were digging wells all over the place when they were looking for water. And of course, this was more or less in the Middle Eastern part of the planet. But they knew nothing about rain. To them, telling them that it was going to rain was like telling them that bread was going to fall from the sky, or aliens were going to come from the sky. They look, that's like ridiculous. Like chemtrails was going to fall from the sky. They're like, oh, that's just a conspiracy. There's no such thing as chemtrails. But that's what happened. It caught them unaware. They were doing their due, just living life as normal. Everything was calm. Everything was somewhat used back to normal, and caught them all unsuspectingly and destroyed every last one of them. And Yah has reminded us in Matthew 24, verse 37, it's going to happen the exact same way again. And I'm telling you, my brothers and sisters, it's already happening. Where did the CEOs go? Why did they run off and leave? Where does Congress go, the Senate go, whenever they get ready to go on these so-called reprieves or wherever they go? Underground bunkers somewhere? Where do they go? Where do their families go? Wherever they are, I can assure you, you're not going to be invited. So you better gird your loins now. You better get yourself together. You sisters, I warned you before. You better get under a strong headship, the one who's got courage and who's not afraid. Because when this chaos really begins and the shit finally hits the fan, they're coming for you, sisters. Lesbians, it doesn't matter. You won't be a lesbian for long if you haven't taken the right precautions and walking away from that lifestyle, I might add. Anyway, guys, that's all I got for you. The CEOs left us. In whose hands? That's the question for us. Talk to you later, DFG. Bye now.